can reflect back to being a player with and manager of some of the finest players that have ever been in the game.
Hotspur America. From the United States to N17, this is the original US-based podcast dedicated solely to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
When you're at a club like Tottenham, they expect you to win all the time. Be the best club in the country as far as I'm concerned.
Coming to you each week during the season.
Spurs in full cry here. Lamella! Oh, what a goal! And Christian Eriksen has scored!
I hate Arsenal. I just hate them.
Oh, what a goal! And Cafu has put Tottenham in front! Kane comes to the Emirates, scores for Spurs.
We're the Yids in America.
Carried away, but Dix is there to tap in!
To dare is to do.
Tottenham Hotspur turning on the style. Glory, glory night at White Hart Lane. The Spurs are still marching on.
This is Hotspur America.
Season 4, Episode 23 of the Hotspur America podcast, coming to you on this 23rd day of December. Just a few days away from Christmas, and what a Christmas present we got from our mighty Tottenham Hotspur, and notably one Harry Kane. As always, the Hotspur America podcast, brought to you by the Community Beer Company, the perfect pub pint to share with your mates. I've got a lot in the fridge, family coming over for the holidays. Definitely going to enjoy that product. You can find us out on social media. Hotspur America Pod on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Spreaker, our podcast hosts, and of course iTunes. Good day out at Turf Moor. 3-0 victory for Tottenham. 3 very important goals for Harry Kane. We probably could have won this at least 5-0, if not more. But I was expecting a little more bite, honestly, from Burnley. I thought they were quite toothless throughout the match, but today was all about Harry Kane. And we're going to get into this discussion momentarily, but first, Simon joining us today. Simon, how are you?
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome, Pete.
That's right, Pete Haine also joining us, the incomparable owner of the Dallas Spurs scarf, the Lucky Scarf. Pete, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. Spent the evening pleasantly watching the game from the Antwerp Arms with lots of like-minded Spurs fans. So reasonably well oiled, although I was driving. So back nice and comfy, trying to make sense of what was a great result against probably a slightly weakened Burnley side. But anyway, 3 points and we're back on the road.
That's absolutely right and absolutely perfect. Also joining us today, Tim. My friend, how are you?
Merry Christmas!
Yes, get in. It is a very merry holiday season and Christmas season for everybody. And
I love Christmas.
It's the best.
I'm one of those guys who I start Christmas music November 1st.
Simon's also quite a Christmas music connoisseur. I didn't realize. I had some moments in the car with him in the past week or so and listened to some really good stuff. The best part about this episode that we do right before Christmas, and I'm so glad that Pete's on with us to enjoy it, is the annual reading of 'Twas the Night Before a Spurs Christmas that I do. So, of course, I've got to go in and change some names around because we have this wonderful thing called the transfer window and have to make things try to rhyme anyway and not sound completely stupid. But this will be the 4th year running that we've done this, so really looking forward to getting this out. Let's start with this match, straight out of the box. Pete, you watched it out at the Antwerp Arms, as you said.
Yep.
Burnley looked a little toothless. I was expecting a lot more from them. Tottenham did what they had to do to go and win this match, and the long and short of it was that by the time the final whistle blew, this game was all about Harry Kane.
It was indeed. Looking at their record at Turf Moor, they don't score a lot of goals and they don't concede a lot of goals. What was it, 9 games they played up until tonight, conceded 3 goals. Hadn't scored many themselves, but run a very tight ship. Okay, so 1 or 2 injuries to their defence. But I was pleasantly surprised, one, by the high pace and the high pressure that we put them under, and the way that we actually played around Burnley's attempt to try and press us high. I think they'd obviously taken cognizance of what Man City did to us last week in trying to put our back 3 under pressure when Lloris was distributing the ball, but failed to do so. We played around them and through them and over them. And all in all, I can't remember, apart from one or two very comfortable pieces of work that Hugo Lloris had to do, I can't remember him making that many saves in the game at all. So, an excellent result.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Tim, when I know that you look at this, and you were one of the first people that tweeted out that Tarkowski was going to miss, who's been playing very well for them in the defensive back line, and Wood going out early certainly hurts them. But even before Wood went out, there was nothing. They weren't showing a thing that looked overly threatening. Your thoughts, and plus the fact that Sanchez came back for us. So I'm interested to get your thoughts on him.
Well, with kind of Burnley looking toothless, I mean, the table turned for once in our favor this time, where they gave up the early goal. And, your tactics completely change at that point. When you give up a goal within 10 minutes, they're not able to sit back and absorb the pressure like they probably planned on doing going into this match. They've been very stout defensively at home, but they weren't able to do that. You add on top of that, they're missing, like you mentioned, Tarkowski. He's key to their defense. He started every single game this season. Has even played in all of their cup matches. So he's one of those solid parts to their back four. And you take out someone who they rely on, and you give up that early goal, everything changes. And so it just opened up the game more. With Sanchez, he slotted back in. It's like he hadn't missed a beat. And, everything we see from him, he's so exciting. It's great to see what he's doing moving forward. He's got an exciting future ahead of him, and it's good to see him come right back into the starting 11 after being out with suspension.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. In Chairs, one of the glaring notes of the game, we walked away with a 3-0 win, and all is good, but Sonny had a wide open net. Sissoko had two really good chances on a breakaway, and to Pete's point, they gave us every opportunity to break on them. We shredded them at the back. They couldn't keep up with the speed, the pace. The timing seemed to be there. Delhi got under their skin extraordinarily early, and it almost, from the TV perspective, it almost felt like a cup match. I'm really interested to find out your thoughts on what, how the penalty transpired. In your opinion, was it truly a penalty? I don't think it can be overturned, even the committees that make such judgments, and how everything kicked on from then.
Well, I definitely think Ali had set the tone for the game early on, and Tim and I were at the pub together watching the match, and I think we both agreed that had that come later in the match, could well have been a red card. And I was a bit nervous at first when I saw the tackle. I knew what he was trying to do, and I knew he wasn't going to meet the ball. So I thought it was a little reckless to start, and obviously unsettled Burnley. And 4 minutes later, he's over in the box, and even on first glance, I thought it was a dive. There was contact, but he certainly embellished it. And I feel sorry for Burnley as much as I can, because obviously we benefited from the decision and the goal, but that was a harsh decision. And I think that really changed the complexity of the game for Burnley, putting them on the back foot from the get-go and really chasing it, knowing what you said and what Pete said about their defensive record at home. And it was a makeshift back four, and they really did not know how to deal with our pace. And again, we said it on the podcast before. If we score early, I don't want to say it's no contest, but it plays into our game plan, because teams have to come at us. They don't sit back. They're not compact. And we can break away with absolutely devastating effect. And we did that today. And you're right, we should have scored a lot more goals. Soko, great first save from Pope, because I think he was already diving to his left and got it with his legs. And you saw on the rebound, the Sissoko was trying to get him through his legs and nutmeg him, and he managed to close his legs just enough, because I think the ball still went under him and kind of diverted and took the pace off it. So Sonny should have put the ball away. That was ridiculous. I don't know how he missed that one, but at the end of the day, I was very happy to see Jan Vertonghen slot in that third goal, right, Tim?
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
I figured I'd just
sure
go
you know
full
who
on
you're
the
talking?
sword.
Are you sure you know who you're talking about when you're talking about these things? Because throughout the entire match, Chairs
I
kept
thoroughly
calling
did
everybody.
last day. I called every player. I'm not used to looking at such a small screen. I'm normally looking at the big screen. So.
Oh, so we're going to blame it on eyesight. I got it. All right. No.
That's all right. Tim missed one as well, but we're not going to go there.
No, we're not, and we're not going to bash on Sissoko for missing. I thought actually, overall he had a very good performance today. Fed Kane for his second goal, and actually had a nice bit of play to create that and make that play. 53 goals in 2017 brings him level to Alan Shearer. Boxing Day goal, that's all he needs to surpass. At Southampton at home, Pete, you're in the Antwerp Arms. You're with all those people. What is the consensus for it's Boxing Day is one of those maybe I'll go, maybe I won't go, and because it's such an early match now, does it change people's perspectives on you know what, I'm going to go, I have a chance to witness history possibly, and can you possibly expect 80,000 people there?
I'd really like to think so, but one of the difficulties that we have over here on Boxing Day is basically public transport grinds to a halt. There's no network rail, so the main railways are not running. The tubes, London Underground, operate a Sunday service, so that in itself isn't difficult, or it can prove difficult to get in and out of London, or from the outskirts. And also the fact that Wembley is quite clearly a public transport venue. They discourage people from driving, and it creates really big issues. The people I were with tonight are all season ticket holders. I think there's only 2 of us actually going to the game, because one, the time of actually 12:30 kickoff UK time is a challenge, especially as most people will probably eat and drink too much on Christmas Day. So getting up early to go to football on Boxing Day in the past has been something that you can actually do and get there by train, but over the past few years it's very, very difficult to get a train in. So the only people that I spoke to tonight who were going, I was sitting with Rob White, he's going and I'm going, and the others are going, oh, Wembley, I really don't like it, I don't enjoy the experience. Now whether the possibility of seeing a record being broken will change their mind as they think about it over the next day, I honestly don't know. I saw Paul Coyte put a tweet out earlier tonight. He's saying, hopefully people will turn up. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that there'll be a lot of empty seats. And again, we'll have the issue of a lack of atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a cavernous stadium, isn't it?
Oh, it is, 90,000 seater. And with the best will in the world. I mean, I don't know if you picked up on some of the tweets that I've been sending out, but in all of the games, I've been to every game at Wembley so far this season, and in only one of those games has the seat on my left-hand side been occupied. Now, I'm dying to get someone sitting in there to ask them, excuse me, have you paid for the season ticket? Why don't you turn up? What's the reasoning behind it? Because they're not cheap. These are top price tickets, £1,700 for a season ticket. So why this individual? The only reason that I can think they're doing it is on the basis of it guarantees me a seat for No White Hart Lane. I don't like Wembley. A lot of people I know say they really don't like Wembley, don't like the atmosphere. Travelling is difficult to get there. Getting away from the stadium as well. Most people use the underground at Wembley Park, and there are massive queues to get out of there, especially if there are other events going on. Yeah. And obviously Boxing Day is a little bit like Black Friday out in the States. Boxing Day is a big sale day in the shops, and there is a big design outlet centre at Wembley. People will go shopping there as well, so that tends to put people off as well.
So, Cheers, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Pete.
Cool.
And this is really for the benefit of listeners over here in the US. So you said £1,700 for your season ticket. So that's 19 home games. Does that include any potential cup games?
No.